Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master's advice video on roleplay versus reality. Uh, Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your social media platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments even if you disagree with me. Remember, friends can still disagree. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the one pictured here, the tabletop role-playing game Outlaw Trails. I designed it to be as simple as possible so that even the novice players can run the game, not just play, but run the game after just a couple hours of reading. I tried to make it as basic and realistic as possible. Everybody has a frame of reference in the Old West, so there you go. Hope you get it and hope you like it. And if that's not your cup of tea, there's lots of other stuff there. Hope you find something you like. I hope you enjoy reading it. Okay. Roleplay versus reality. I have had players in the past attempt to bypass certain situations in my game by role-playing through them. And if they can honestly do that, amen. I'm good with that. Here's the rub. There are players out there who will try to subvert the situation through roleplay. That is not good. I have a few examples. One player tried to get the group out of a sticky situation by claiming he was a prince. I believe I talked about this in one of my videos. This was not an in-game deception towards the villains. This player invented a sudden nobility and backstory out of the blue and expected me as the dungeon master to go along with it. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Another player tried to rewrite his backstory to give himself skills and abilities he did not possess in order to outmaneuver an evil warlord who had taken over the city. Yeah, you can't change the past, people. If you can go back in time and learn new stuff and then come back, that's cool. You know, I suppose that could work, but that's iffy. And you know, that may have worked, but this guy just started writing stuff on his character sheet. No, you can't do that. Yet another player tried to role play through an encounter with a major villain using knowledge her character had no way of knowing. Yeah, I explained it. I took her aside and explained it to her, and she argued, and I explained it again, and I set down the ruling, and we went back in there. And she continued. So I had to stop the game for the day and then pull her aside and explain what she did wrong. She ended up quitting the game. There's a difference between player knowledge and character knowledge. Still another player, I actually did a video on that, check it out. Still another player tried to give his first level character knowledge he could not possess by simply role-playing as though he knew. This was different than the girl because this guy was not an established character, but his character was a farmer who had worked in the fields all of his life and was conscripted and given, I want to say, a spear. It wasn't even a spear, it was a sharp stick. And the first time out, this guy immediately tried to roleplay as though he was an experienced and seasoned veteran with multiple weapon proficiencies and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't cut it. The list of players who have tried this with me in my games is long and distinguished. Sometimes the player was trying to see what he could get away with. Sometimes they didn't realize they were breaking the rules. It's up to you, the dungeon master, to pull them aside and educate them tactfully about the rules of the game and about roleplay. If they resist, or if it becomes clear that they know the rules and are intentionally intending to subvert them, then the dungeon master has no choice but to penalize them. But the DM has to make sure they understand the reason for the penalization, the penalties. Otherwise, they may think the dungeon master is just being an asshole. Now, penalties, firstly, must include immediate failure of whatever they were attempting to do. Depending on the severity of their infraction, the dungeon master may include such penalties as loss of experience or even loss of a level or two. Penalties in-game are much preferred and can include the situation becoming worse. They get arrested. The warlord immediately says, "Off with their heads." The king says, "Throw them in the dungeon. We'll kill them later. We'll execute them later." That kind of thing. The player's difficulties should be compounded if that's the case. It is up to the dungeon master's discretion. But whatever penalties are imposed, the player must regret their actions and be discouraged from any repeat offenses in the future. The whole point of the game is to have fun. But there are guidelines. The players play within parameters. There are parameters. That's the word I was looking for. And anytime players decide to, ignore those parameters, it's the dungeon master's job to make sure they're reminded of them. Okay. Now, again, if it was a casual infraction, they didn't realize they were breaking the rules, it was an accident, whatever, that's cool. They'll get back on track and everything's good. If it's intentional and they knew what they were doing, yeah, you got to penalize them. Otherwise, other players will see them get away with it and go, "Hey, well, if they did it, I can do this too." Yeah, you've got to penalize them. And it's got to be public. It's got to be something that the players all see. When you talk to them about it, take them aside because you don't want to embarrass them. If you find out that they need to be penalized, that penalization, that penalty has to be public so everybody sees it. Oh crap, look what happened to him. Let's not do that. That kind of thing. Okay? So yeah, there's role play and there's reality, and in-game reality is just as important as outside reality as far as the game goes. So yeah. I hope this helps. I'm not trying to tell people how to run their game. I'm just trying to help you do a better job at it, have more fun, make a better game. If anybody else has any other comments, or if you disagree with me, put it in the comments. I'm sure we'd all love to read them. These videos are supposed to be instructional for newer gamers. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.